Welcome to our Pecha Kucha on supporting LGBTQ youth in schools. I am Nate Monson, the Executive Director with Iowa Safe Schools. We are a statewide nonprofit that works to support our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer and questioning students through education and outreach, especially amongst our educators in our state. So glad to be able to provide. So when we're talking about our LGBTQ students, I always want to make sure I emphasize the fact that we're talking about not a one-size-fits-all box for our students. You know, we all fall on a scale when it comes to things like gender identity or sexual orientation or whatever it might be. We fall on a scale. It's not one extreme or another. It's a scale between or feminine or non-gendered even. And it's just really important to emphasize that individual aspect to this. So each experience for an LGBTQ student is going to be very different, whether they have supports at home or in the school environment. It's going to be very unique and different. And I know that sometimes that can be a little difficult since there's no one-size-fits-all answers for supporting this population. The other big piece is going to be our trans students. It's not just our lesbian and gay students I want to make sure we're talking about. It's our trans students as well, that T portion of our acronym. And trans students include a very large umbrella category of people who don't fit to typical gender norms of male or female. It includes a wide variety of terminology. You see, when we're talking about things like gender, gender identity, transgender individuals, trans, it can get a little confusing, and we have our own misconceptions. And oftentimes those misconceptions are very incorrect. And so it's always important to remember that you can feel free to ask questions or look up information if you are not aware of what something, or even some of those terms you might have seen earlier, you could feel are a little more offensive maybe, or it could be something you are uncomfortable with using. And that's okay. It's always important to remember, ask questions, and the acronym is going to keep changing a little bit, letters here and there. And that's okay, again. It's always important to look up information if you aren't aware. When we're talking about bullying, though, in school climate, one of the biggest issues that we have is that our LGBTQ students are almost kind of an other population. We have phrases for them: that's so gay, no homo. We have stereotypes of what a gay man looks like, or what a lesbian woman looks like, or is, or a transgender individual. And types fostered with kind of a society and culture where there are injustices that still happen does create an environment of bullying behaviors. And we know that our LGBTQ students, according to the CDC here, face very different experiences than their heterosexual peers when it comes to school. They're way less likely to feel safe and supportive than their heterosexual. Very, very troubling for that to be in kind of the school environment for them. So beyond kind of knowing that we have a problem and situation in our hands, it's also important to kind of keep in mind that support role. And that's what I really wanted to spend most of our time with, is talking about how do we support these students and kind of understand their experience. So we know that when we're talking about coming out process for these students, I want to make sure I mention too, we use the CAS identity model a lot, and it's 6 stages of the coming out process. Stage 5 is where you're really going to experience any student coming out. It's called the Pride stage, and they want the world to know that they are a social justice superhero. This is who I am, and the world and everyone else to know I love who I love, and this is what's going on for me. And this is where they almost become a provocative victim. They want to wear shirts that say things like "homophobia is so gay" to maybe respond to a student who might have worn a more conservative shirt that week. It will up the ante. And what's important to keep in mind, though, I said there's no one-size-fits-all approach, but there's kind of a lot of different things that we can do to support these students, as well as their students who are provocative, who become provocative victims. And that could include things like inclusive curriculum, library resources, internet access, being a supportive educator. All these kinds of things are very important to have. And a lot of our students, as you can see there, feel like they don't have that support. So what does that mean to be a supportive educator? That's going to be things like questioning, like if a student says they're trans, ask them, question that, what kind of pronoun would you like me to use? If you identify as male, so he, him kinds of pronouns, or female, and that's okay. The other piece to make sure I mention is our safe space or safe zone stickers. You will see this a lot on doorways of classrooms. You could see this in desks that student or teachers may have. And to kind of make sure all the students know this is maybe a rule in my classroom, that all students are respected here. And I want to make sure that you all know it's a safe, including our LGBTQ students. Students also pick up on whether or not you're a supportive educator through how you respond when things happen in front of them. Phrases like "that's so gay" are said all the time in our school hallways. I can guarantee I can walk in any building and hear it instantly. It will be said by someone. Or "no homo," or "you're a dyke." And it's important to respond when it happens. Don't eat anyone's face off. Don't reflect their own behavior. It's important to address it appropriately and calmly, like you would most bullying situations. But it's important to address it because then students know that you are a supportive ally in what's going on, and they're comfortable talking to you about things that are going on for them. And they're going to feel more comfortable talking to you about who they are as an individual, which is really critical for these students, because then we're making them feel like they are no longer an other, and we are no longer fostering that bullying behavior environment. Now, you could do a lot in addition to that. You could have books like Antango Makes Three in your classroom, lots of different resources that are out there. And I have to mention, as an organization, we do provide a lot of different education and outreach for folks. And so if you do want some more information on this topic, or how to include curriculum in the classroom, or how to support these students, we do have online available on our website. We also host the annual Governor's Conference on LGBTQ Youth. We were expecting about over 1,000 individuals this year on April 1st, and I hope you all can join us and get more information. Because the best thing you can do to equip yourself and to support these students is to educate yourself. So thank you for having me do this Pecha Kucha, and if you do have any questions, feel free to contact me. You have my information there. Thank you.